Live, and we are live. And this is Thomas together with Norbert, Michael, and Brian. And today we will be talking a little bit about the softer side of our endeavor as endeavors as software developers. Uh, Norbert, Brian, and Michael are taking a course created by Agile Ventures called AV102, managing distributed teams, and we are past the theoretical part of the course, and we have entered a phase where specialized tracks are the main focus for us. And we have two tracks, one being the teaching assistant track, where people are supporting students of a MOOC, CS169, delivered on edX by Berkeley X. And the other track is project track, where participants get their hands dirty in various open source projects for Agile Ventures. Doesn't necessarily have to be Agile Ventures, but it's more convenient because we're all involved in the Agile Ventures community. And we are on a point of this track where we are talking about soft skills, and soft skills being everything apart from the technical side of the business, basically. We all need to be good programmers and good software developers, but we also need to have a different set of skills on top of that makes us good team members, good leaders, and good collaborators. But before we start, let's just have a little presentation round. Norbert, if you want to start, tell us a little bit about yourself and your experiences of the AV102 course, and also in the context of participating in the open source project that you're involved in. I know that you've been doing some work for the Website 1 project.
Yeah, sure. So, hi, my name is Norbert, and I'm. Oops, sorry, my laptop is getting blank. Okay, so I'm about distributing about 1.5 year, and after that I try to learn much more to how to use this programming language and this all about Ruby on Rails. And about 9 months I'm a junior Rails developer as a self-employed, and when I started this job, and I try to find something, how can I improve myself, and that's why this thing I found this Berkeley course 169, and that's the reason we met, you and the other people, and I really like these courses because they catch that thing what you really like. You improve yourself and try to do things in the real world. And yeah, about this AV102, it's a really practical course. We need to use everything what we know, and if we can't, we need to figure out what we should do. And yes, I really like it. And yeah, I try to doing the both course, the track and the TA track, also the project and the TA track also. And maybe a little bit the project track harder, because it's tricky to catch somebody, for example, to with this pair programming, and yeah, but it's okay. Just we need to manage to these things. Maybe we can find somebody to pairing.
Absolutely. That's always a hassle. We're going to be talking about a lot about pair programming today. Actually.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Just for you guys' records, I just posted a link to this YouTube recording in the chat.
Okay.
If you want to use it. Michael.
Hello.
Yes. Tell us about yourself and your experiences here in Larger Ventures and the AV102 course.
Yes. I am. My name is Michael. I already followed the TA track in spring, and then I decided to follow a project track.
Yeah, this is your second time around. Yes, I remember that.
Yes. I did the CS 169 twice, but I never managed to end it because of my professional occupation. So my professional experience is more focused on Java technologies. And I was really interested in learning a new language such as Ruby, where things are managed differently.
Yeah, that's quite of a jump. I mean, working with Java, it's kind of low level, and jumping to a high level language like Ruby, how do you find that? Is that a big difference in both in terms of technology and also by the way we do things in usually, as you know, in the convention-wise in Rails and Ruby?
I think that when you use frameworks such as Spring, the experience is is closer to Ruby on Rails. And yes, when you only work with Java, it's more low-level language. Yes. But they are promoting Scala, which is a layer above Java I think, to compete with languages such as Python and Ruby. Because Java is a bit too low, maybe the layer.
Yeah, I gotta say, Java scares the shit out of me. You know, it's yeah, and C, and you know, because I've been doing a lot of that back in the old days, but you know, being on that level is way too much for me. I don't even want to jump down there. You know, I'm into information systems. I just want to move pieces of data around and process them in a way. But I'm not interested in how it's done. I just want to do it, and I think that Ruby gives me that opportunity. So Java and C, you know, I get the shiver.
Okay. Okay, so I'm trying to follow the project track, and I think the next step is to work on my development environment and try to initiate pair programming session. Often we think it's difficult to do pair programming, but I think you just have to create your own session and then wait, and maybe someone will join. And if you wait for someone else to do it for you, it may be more difficult.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll be covering that. It's a very good point there, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay, let's quickly jump over to Brian. You have to unmute yourself in order to talk to us. There you are.
Hello.
Hello.
I took 169.1 and .2, and I've been doing the project track in AV102, working on the Osra project mainly, and I like it, except for there's not enough pair programming. But aside from that, I do enjoy it. I would like to get involved with more pair programming, and I might have to do work on other projects to make that happen.
Or try to pull in more members into the Ostra project, perhaps, you know, so that are also into PairProgramming.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. Yeah,
But
it seems.
it's a challenge. I know it's a challenge. You know.
I think it's mainly an hours thing. We're scattered everywhere. You know, USA, UK, Estonia, all kinds of places, and people just aren't around at the same time.
Absolutely. All right, and so you guys have been around for like 2 or 3 months, all of you, I guess, actively involved in Agile Ventures. Something like that.
I'm I'm starting the Agile Ventures thing about this AV102 course starting.
Yeah, so that's
I saw it before because you advertised this page, and I know it. What is it? Just I need to sometimes find the time to.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Time is another thing. So we were talking about pair programming. We were talking about time. We were talking about communication skills and some business skills today. Because so if I may take over now for a second and just give my little improvised talk here. I have a lot of stuff in my head, so just feel free to interrupt me and ask any questions if I'm not making any sense. And this is supposed to be a dialogue rather than a lecture. But let's talk about time. Time is a commodity that we all could use more of course, and
yes.
I mean, 24 hours a day. We need to sleep. We need to eat. We need to work, and we need to devote ourselves to our personal growth, and which makes us unique. The members of this community are in a way a special breed of people. That we are people that want to kind of invest in ourselves. We want to learn, we want to grow, and we want to do that together with other people because of ourselves, of course. There are always an egoistic side of it, because there are something that motivates us. Whether it's just we're trying to get a good job, or we just want to improve ourselves. Perhaps some of us do it for the social side of things. So there's always a motivator. But in order to do all this, Sam created this unique opportunity for us to get together and do things that we either like or some of us actually love. So but time-wise, time is always an obstacle, at least for me, and I guess you guys have experienced the same thing. You want more than you can, and when you can do it, you're frustrated that other people cannot do it at the same time when you can. Like pair programming, right? You want to set up a session, and you go like, okay, I'm here. Come on, let's do this together, right? So that's something we want to tackle, and that's something. It's there. It's unavoidable, but we can try to lower that threshold by providing good technology. Based solutions like Website One, where I'm working toward getting a pair programming schedule deployed. That's going to make it easier to find pair programming partners and set up sessions. However, what we need for that to work is a higher level of commitment from the community. Like you all know that we have around 560 or 570 members right now, but not all of them are active, and we believe that not all of them are active because it's hard to find pair programming partners and good stories to work on together with them. So, but we are tackling that problem. But that's another story, I guess. The other thing that is unique in Agile Ventures, I think, that gives us an upside toward other people that are not practicing pair programming and learning together, is that you notice, and I noticed that when I started to work as a professional programmer, is that I'm always curious about learning new stuff, but I'm also, my first thought is, let's do this, together with my coworkers. So I have a different approach to problem solving. I'm very, when I'm facing something that I don't know, I'm not afraid to say I don't know how to do this, but I know how to, I have a way to approach the problem in a way that I will solve this by doing a research or by doing some collaborative thinking, because I know when I program by myself, I often get stuck, like, shoot, I don't know this or that, blah blah blah. But if I'm doing this together with somebody else, either an experienced or unexperienced programmer, the dynamic of me collaborating with somebody gives me the synergy effect is so big that the problems are solving themselves, kind of, just by us talking to each other. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. I think everybody feel this for the first pair programming feel this is a time wasting thing, I think, but I don't know. And after that, you can practice this pair programming and you find somebody to you can cooperate with them. Really, you can fast this.
Absolutely, it's because, let me rest assured that I was very hesitant toward all this. I was kind of scared that people will expose that I'm not a good programmer. And also, hey, I'm going to record this. I'm crazy. I don't want to. I don't want people to see my flaws or something. If you hear something in the background, it's my kid waking up. So, but hopefully we can live with the sound effects. So anyway, we came up with this idea called crowdsourced learning, where we try to focus on learning together, and in contrast to traditional learning, where the teacher is just standing in front of a group of people and telling them that this is the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
We try to do this together and not be teacher focused, but learner focused, and we often find ourselves in positions where we shift roles quite often. Whereas I could be in technical matters, I could be perhaps more experienced on authentication methods like device than you guys. But in the same pairing session, we can encounter a problem where somebody of you are more experienced than me, right? So then that's where the shift happens, and often we find problems where none of us is experiencing. So that's when the energy of us together, approaching a problem that we face for the first time and solving it together comes in. And I think that's the beauty of it. So I can be an expert, I can be a student, I can be a problem solver, and we can mix this in one single pairing session without this ego thing that, hey, I'm the teacher now, I'm gonna do this. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. And when you go out there and work in an organization with this attitude, I think that's a great edge that you have against other people that haven't practiced this much, because that gives you an ability to be a better team member and a better collaborator in a project. So that's one single thing that I could take out from my experiences from Agile Ventures and see that direct. I could apply that on my work, and that gave me a good position, with my other team members and my bosses and stuff. So try to take that with you. Another thing that I want to jump over to another topic is that we are trying to follow the agile approach to software development, not religiously, but almost, and that also for being a non-profit and an open source project incubator, where everything we do is based on voluntary work. Having this gentleman's agreement that okay, you're volunteering to enter this endeavor, but once you're doing that, let's stick to certain values and certain processes, and workflows. For instance, like writing up stories in the tools we use, and delivering pair programming as much as we can, and delivering stories in a format that we all agree upon. And if you do that month after month, that gives you a real life experience that you can share with your employers or with other people outside of Agile Ventures, and it gives you a level, it creates a level of professionalism that you notice that when you enter an organization, you are actually better than them in doing the Agile, in developing in the Agile way, because you've been so strict about it here. And I introduced a lot of new methods with my employer's organization just the last weeks, because it just comes so naturally to me. Let's not do it this way. How about we set this and this up, and they go like, yeah, that makes sense. That's really good. And you know what I mean? It's you can add a lot of value. You can gain a lot of experience and add a lot of value to your future employers, I think.
Yeah, sure. And I think this is what you're working on as a volunteer, or this or these things is a live CV for you.
Exactly, like a live CV. Yes, your GitHub repository will be a part of your CV, and you can point them to some recordings, to on YouTube where you did some programming. That's a good thing, and also if you've been with us for a long time, don't hesitate to ask me or Sam for a letter of recommendation. That's another thing. We don't usually emphasize that, but it's there, and we've done it for a lot of people. So if I know somebody, if I worked with somebody, I have no problem, being the guy on the reference list. So don't hesitate to ask us for it. Michael, you were saying something, I guess.
Sorry. I think you're right. Yes, it's the methodology is very interesting, and it's great to be able to use it in your professional work as you do it at Agile Venture. Sometimes I use things I do with Agile Venture in my work, and it works, and it's fine.
Yes, and also one soft skill that I find very valuable and very necessary is, and more so in this modern world, is the ability of us to see the bigger picture. And let me somebody said that good software developers care first about the business proposition and secondarily about the code they are writing. Because we have to deliver value, and a lot of times, as programmers, we can come up with great ideas while we code. Like, I would like to add this feature, and blah blah blah, and so often we end up coding features that we not yet need, that are not required by the client, but just because we think they are cool, or they could come in handy in the future. That's a mistake, of course, because what we ought to do, we have to understand the business goals, and we need to be able to split them into smaller pieces and smaller goals that eventually become user stories, and we want to code toward that user story, and that's it. Stay in scope of the story, and don't do more, and don't do less than that, but just focus on whatever you're supposed to deliver at that very moment, and don't jump in time. At the stage when you're coding, that's way too late to be thinking about the the future, or what if we could use this and that, that way of thinking should be done, in the negotiation with the client, when he or she is requesting a feature. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
So the business goals are very, very important, and that's why here in Agile Ventures we try to involve you guys as much as possible in the process of talking about the system and the business goals, and we want you to see the process of narrowing it down to a user story and a feature request. And that's also why we need to have non-technical clients for our projects, and we have that in local support, the original project of Agile Ventures, and we have that in Osra. We don't have that in Website 1. We have a non-technical client that actually is technical, because Sam plays the role of the client in Website 1, and that is a bit of a problem, because he tends to be a little too to be on a too low level sometimes in terms of feature requests. But in the real world, you will work with non-technical clients, and hopefully if you work in an agile team, you will be meeting them, because if you don't meet them, then there is this buffer between you and the client, like project manager, for instance, or what have you in your organization, that you do your thing, and they take the code and show it to the client at some point, and the client either likes it or not, but there is no communication often there is no communication between the team and the client directly, and that's often a cause to frustration, to misunderstandings, to basically developing the wrong product. And you go like, why is the customer why doesn't they, why don't they want this or that, but it's not in an agile approach. It is when the client is integrated into the almost everyday process of work. You never get this situation, and so by working on open source projects where there is a non-technical customer, you're also getting more real life experience than you would get in any other project, actually. So you're following my thought here, that let's try to mimic the best case scenario real world enterprise projects, and apply them to our open source project, and do this as a learning experience. Because again, seeing the bigger picture is also very important. Sometimes even I get frustrated. Hey, this is just an open source project. What do I care about documentation, or whatever? I just want to do stuff, because I have limited time. Again, the time issue is here, right? But it's seeing the bigger picture. Let's do it the proper way. Follow the conventions and follow the workflow. That gives everybody that leads to a better product and better software quality, and also a better quality overall of the learning experience. So I think that's a very important thing.
Yeah, I experienced that what you mean, and yeah, sometimes hard to understand what the client would like to, and after that maybe you misunderstood what he would like, and yeah.
Yeah. So, and that brings us to the next topic that is extremely important. That's communication, and so to be able to clearly convey your ideas to others, and the ability to actually listen to people, and that's something we don't want to get too philosophical here, but I usually say to my friends and to my wife, especially and to my kids when I try to teach them about life, that if you listen to people, a whole new world opens, basically, and there's I believe, perhaps I'm cynical, but I think that 90% of the population out there doesn't listen to each other. They just this is one-way communication. You can try to, how are you? Well, I'm fine. You tell somebody about your day, and they basically don't care. The only thing they want to do is you to stop talking, so they can talk back. So they can listen to the sound of their own voice.
Yeah, sure.
but having said that, to be able to convey your own ideas to other people, and to actually actively listen to folks that you are talking to is a key skill that you need to have with you out there. It's very important. And also the ability to talk about relevant things. For instance, as engineers, we often tend to jump down on the lower level and say that, yeah, we can fix this and that, and talk about the nitty-gritty technical stuff. But if you are in a business meeting, you need to focus on the business goals and stay on the higher level, and don't jump up and down too much. And that's a little frustrating sometimes, because as engineers, we often come up with a idea, we want to convey that. Oh yeah, blah blah blah. We get all excited about it, and that's only human. It's natural, and it's a good thing. Also, you should be excited about your own ideas, and about the implementation of things. But talking about the right things in the right place in the right time, it's a key skill, because that's what productivity is all about. If you jump back and forward, through between high-level discussions and low-level, details, I think that's counterproductive in the long run. So that's a very important thing, I think. Michael and Brian, any ideas, any thoughts on that?
That's interesting advice. I didn't think of it that way. As far as the focusing on the business goals and separating the technical and non-technical things.
Cool. I think that's important, and also what I was about. Let's do pair programming thing again. We covered that already, but we think that the pair programming approach to software development is also something that you need to be very aware about. So when you start a pair programming session, just go over together with your friend, or if you are many people, just the business goal of this particular session. When you start to work on a project, just repeat to yourself, why are we doing this? So the user story that should be attached to every feature in all our projects. This is a very important thing to read. So as an administrator, in order to whatever I need to do something, right? So it's always important to perhaps it feels redundant, but it's always important to start a session with reading that story and also reading the acceptance criteria, or going over the acceptance criteria. So okay, in order for this to be delivered, to be done, ready, the definition is done is again is very differs from one story to another, of course, and from one project to another project. But what are the acceptance criteria? And if there is a lack of acceptance criteria, then somebody has basically messed up, because when you start to develop this story, if you want to go, start coding, the user story needs to be there, and the acceptance criteria needs to be there, so you can start writing your tests, right? Because if you have the criteria done, you know how to you start to know how to implement that, and you can start writing tests, and after that you can start to write your code, and always, and that's where the jump from low level up to a higher level is necessary. For every line of code you write, or every feature you approach, or every test you write, you need to map it in your mind. Are this bringing us closer to the acceptance criteria, to the user story, to the business goal that is on a higher level? So it's very important. And if you take on the leading role in a pair programming session, you need to be that person that can have this strength in you to say to your friend or friends, say, stop, guys, we are moving in a wrong direction. If that would happen, you know what I mean? So I think that the ability, that's another thing that I was meaning to talk to you about, the ability to not only be able to convey your ideas and communicate them, but also if you have an idea, you have to be strong enough to stick with it. If you are convinced that this is a good solution, And if you can make a good argument, solution will bring us closer to the business goals. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And because and stick with it, although be open to other ideas. If somebody gives you another argument that kind of he tells you that, but have you thought of this or that? Gives you some new information. Don't be too don't have a strong ego to to stick with your idea no matter what. Of course, you need to be flexible, and you need to rethink your way of approaching a specific problem or a set of problems. But if you are convinced that this is a good idea, then stick with it. People talk about compromises, and my personal opinion is that compromises are not always a good thing, because a compromise can potentially water down a solution to a degree that it's no longer valid. But this is a very subtle balance. You have to go, because you don't want to be an asshole, or perceived like an asshole by he never yields. He's always so strong. But still, if you believe in something, go for it. That's a very important thing. But be open to new ideas, to new inputs, and new ideas. And that's where the crowdsourced learning approach comes in as well. Because if you are unsure about something, solve it together with other people and form an opinion. But your goal should be to form an opinion, to take a stand. You know what I mean? And I think that's really important. And always stay focused on the business goals. That is above you, basically.
Yes.
Thoughts on that, guys?
Sometimes I experience what you talk about, because we need to rewrite a gem what they want to use it, and I thought that how I would like to solve that problem, but they said no, that's not will be good. Try this, but I don't agree with him, because it's when I follow him, it's a really complicated to the code, and what I want is the much more simpler, and I believe that is the same. In the end, this is the same. Just what I want is a simpler and not so complicated.
Yeah. Again, time. That's, because it's all connected together. Time management is a crucial thing. Engineers love to refactor stuff and do let's take this solution and blah blah blah. But hey, if it's a balance again. There are ideas and solutions to problems that could take 2 or 3 or 4 hours to implement and be great, right? But if it takes only half an hour to implement and it's okay, it solves the problem, perhaps we should take the shorter one, because we want to be effective, right? It's just an example, but so I've been in sessions, and I'm guilty as charged of that where we spent like 3 hours just moving one step forward, because we took a very long way to get there, and afterwards we were just like, oh gosh, we could have done this much simpler, perhaps not the most robust way, but still a working, because we want to deliver working software. You guys know this circle, right? Red test, green test, refactor. So the green test is where you actually do the least amount of coding just to make the test pass, right? It doesn't have to be a beautiful code. The beauty of the code could come in the refactor stage, and we can refactor ourselves to death sometimes. We can every solution that is implemented could be questioned, right? I mean, you, Norbert, code in one way, you can solve a problem in one way. Michael, you can do it in a slightly different way, and Brian, you have yet another third approach to the same problem. And if you guys would, if you guys are so focused on my idea needs to be the one that is implemented, you can discuss yourself to death, and you can spend a lot of time, fighting or just arguing about what solution is the best. But the thing is, if you guys take it up a notch and say, hey, we need some working solution here. It doesn't really matter if it's Norbert's or if it's Michael's or if it's Brian's solution, as long as it works, right?
Yes.
That's a very important ability. So just let stuff go and move forward. Just deliver working software. It's because that's what it's all about, basically. However, having said that, in Agile Ventures, we want to do things differently. If you have tried your way once, Norbert, for instance, and we are facing a similar problem, in a different project, the reasonable thing to do, the most efficient way to do, is just to implement your solution, right? But since we are doing this as a learning experience, we could say, now we've done this in Norbert's way, but let's now try Michael's, because we want to learn something, right? So it's a balance consider as well. All right, moving forward to another thing, Scrum and Agile, of course. Scrum is a framework that I personally enjoy a lot, and it's easy to start working, in Scrum, but it's hard to master it. And I am in no way a Scrum master. Someday perhaps I will be, but read about Scrum methods, the way other teams are doing. Scrum is a very huge. Well, it doesn't have many components, but it's a very big framework, and it could be implemented in very many different ways. And I have shared a book that I would like you, and it's gonna be a part of the project track. Let me just share my screen and go over to the website one. The website one project. Are you seeing my screen now, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay, let's see. The documents. Interesting stuff. Yes. Okay, you guys just have to see this. So you have a startup. I don't know if you've seen it yet. I'm not gonna play it to you now, but please. I've seen it like 200 times, and I'm laughing my ass off every time. So, but this is not what this discussion is about. And also, it's awesome to be a nerd. Also, please watch it. I love it. Anyways, Scrum. Yes, Scrum and XP from the trenches. Yes, a Swedish guy actually, Henrik Nyberg, wrote this book. It's free, and it deals with agile software development, and basically he says that there is no manual telling you exactly how to do stuff, but that you have to experiment and continuously adapt the process until it suits your specific solution. If I just may quote what they say about it. So please review this document. It's a very good read. It's not too long. It's not so technical. So I think it will be very valuable for you guys to have a quick look at. And also Jeff Sutherland, he's one of the co-founders, one of the guys behind Scrum. He wrote a foreword to it, and it's a very good read. So I would really recommend this. How many pages? Let's see. Well, okay, 140 pages, something like that. But it's an easy read. Don't feel intimidated by it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. So that should be it. Okay. Let's go back to my camera. There I am, I think. Okay. Yes, I am. Okay. Cool. Also, another thing that is very important is, of course, team dynamics. For instance, you, Brian, you mentioned that you were a little bit frustrated about the lack of pair programming in your team, and that's you know. From my side of view, a valid point. But that's the way it is in your team. The guys that constituted that team before you came along, they kind of they formed their own way of doing things. So I believe that they do a lot of code review on GitHub, and I also believe that it's rather unique. But I think that they decide on code by committee, so that they don't have a dedicated project lead that is in charge of doing making certain decisions, but they rather do it in a democratic way, by voting about it, if I'm not completely mistaken. And it's a very interesting way of doing things. I support that. We do it slightly different in some other projects, but I think the Ostra project has made great progress. What I'm trying to say is that you come into a project and there are certain ways of doing things already, and basically as a newbie you just have to accept certain things. But also, how long for how long are you a newbie? I mean, right? After a while you're a team member, and you want to be able to influence certain things and do certain things, impose or try to get some changes across. So one way, Brian, is we already covered this subject briefly. You said that perhaps I should get involved in a different project, and my response to that is, well, or you could pull some more people in and start pair program. So be always, what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to emphasize is that be creative, and be mindful and respectful of the team members you work with, of course. But again, if you have opinions, you should get them across and try to implement them. If there's changes needed to be done, of course, you should be the one leading that strive to change. What I hate to hear personally here on Agile Ventures or in other aspects of life are people complaining, we should have done this, we should have done that. And my response to that is basically just fucking do it. You know what I mean? It's like the Sunday night couch politicians, for instance, that talk about how things should have been run in their own respective countries. Just basically get involved in politics if you have opinions. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing in projects. If you have ideas, just go ahead and tell them. Be assertive. Tell people what you think and make a change. And also lead by good example. If you promote pair programming like I do, that's why I'm hosting this right now, rather than lying in bed and just playing with my kid. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I have to do this because this is what I believe in. I want to spread this word, and also I want to lead by example. So that's why I'm trying to convene to you guys that if you strongly believe in something, just do it. And it's much easier to change your own ways. You know what I mean? Than to change somebody else, right? So if you I think you said it very well, Michael. If you wanna pair program, just do it. I mean, start a session, and if somebody and post a link on Slack, and if somebody shows up, great. If they don't, hey, I mean, you still have some time with your computer, or perhaps you could solve something and move forward on a project. But at least you've given other people a chance to join you, and after a while they will start joining you. I remember back in last Christmas, my wife was pregnant. Over time, we were just waiting for the little guy to show up, and I didn't have I couldn't plan much because we could go to the hospital at any moment. So I was doing a lot of pair programming, and a lot of people were away, but I posted links. We can't check this history now because it's on Skype rather than on Slack. But I posted links, and Marcelo started joining me from California, and John Morbacher from Florida and New York now, he started joining me. And all of a sudden we were doing this prototype of website 1, a spy. and we showcased that to Sam in January, a few days after my son actually was born. And on January 8th, we started this Website 1 project, and we have been working on it ever since. You know what I mean? So that was my idea. I was just like, hey, I would like to do a website for Website 1, you know, for Agile Ventures. And I started to spiking something up, and, you know, I got Marcelo involved, John involved, Mariam was there, you know, a lot of people was there. And because they also, you know, was bored with this Christmas leaf, basically, you know what I mean? And after a while, we were able to do something good out of it. So just it's again, it's if you want to do something, do it. Be persistent. Believe in your own idea. Talk to other people about it, and you will be good. You will be fine. And you will notice that once you get pulled into another organization, as an employee, you'll see that your bosses and your co-workers will appreciate those values and those abilities that you and those skills that you possess. That will make you a better employee and lead to a good career, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, it's going to be time to wrap this up. Our hour is up. Any final thoughts, guys?
Yeah, so I really thank you for this conversation. I think it's helpful for me, and yeah.
Thank you, Norbert.
Yeah, thank you.
Final thoughts?
Yes, thank you, Thomas. It was very interesting. And I think you're right. I think we have to initiate our own programming session when we want to do something. It's the same as when you're at the office. You can open your door or close your door, and if your door is closed, no one will come and say hello. What are you doing?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Brian.
Yeah.
Any final words?
No, that's all good advice. I'm gonna take it in and see what I can make of it.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you guys for being here today, and also thank you guys for sticking with the projects track for the AV102. That's a little baby of mine. So please stick with it. I will try to give you as much support as I can, and you know, basically just code away. And I hope to see you in a pair programming session anytime soon. All right.
No,
Thank you. Bye.
Live long and prosper, guys.
Bye.
Take it easy. Have a great Saturday. Cheers. Bye bye.